Hey guys, just gonna show you how to do some clutch work on your Yamaha Enticer. This is a 1980. It's 39 years old, and things are getting a little bit worn out on it. I have a parts clutch that is in a lot better shape, so I'm gonna show you some stuff on it. There's some stuff on it that's good and some stuff on it that's bad. So to get your clutch apart, you don't need a puller necessarily, as long as you're really careful. You don't have to touch the center bolt. If you don't have any problems with your inner sheave, you can do most of this leaving your inner sheave on the crankshaft. So what you're going to want to do is unthread one bolt here, and one bolt here. You're going to be left with 3 bolts holding your clutch together. You might want another person, and what you want to do is grab the outer sheave and the case and squeeze it together. It's not that strong of a spring in behind here. It sounds scary. There's lots of tools that you can buy to hold these clutches down while you undo these bolts, but these are a pretty low power machine. The spring isn't very strong. I was able to do it just by myself. So as you're holding pressure in on this, what you're going to do is loosen these a little bit at a time. Keep going all the way around, and then eventually the cover will pop off. So pull that off. You can see here there is a lot of grime and dirt and you name it, it's pretty well in there. A lot of that is belt particles, especially if your belt's old and dried out. It'll start to disintegrate more or less. It's kind of like little particles of sand flying around in there, so you want to make sure to use a nylon brush or an old toothbrush and some brake clean or something to get as much of that stuff out of there as you can, and then blow it out with air. There's some thicker stuff along this edge that you probably will want to scrape out with a screwdriver. I know this is pretty, it's in there pretty good, but there isn't a lot you can do with this outer case. There's a bushing here. I don't think it's available anymore. I looked a while ago and it wasn't. There's also another bushing right here, and it's not available either, so you're kind of stuck looking for parts that are good, like good used parts or new old stock. So there's the spring. It's like you can push it down pretty easy with your hand. You just want to make sure that the spring isn't cracked anywhere. Look it over. See that there's no weird spots of rust on it that might indicate future failure. So the problem with this clutch was, this was actually on my machine when I bought it, but the issue was there are these little weights that fly out. As you rev up the engine, these weights fly out and they roll on these rollers. And this machine, sometimes when you'd come to a stop, the belt would squeal and it would try and go ahead. So what that is one of the weights was actually seized a little bit in here. And really, I could have fixed this pretty easy at the time, but I didn't realize it, and I knew I had another clutch on the shelf, so I threw the other one on. But there was a whole bunch of dirt and crap jammed in here, and that's all that was holding this weight from getting back to where it wanted to sit. So there's another little bushing here. Just make sure there's no weird spots on it. See that it doesn't have a whole lot of play on the shaft. I don't think you'll find that it will. This is called your spider. So there's lots of moving parts on here that can wear out. Number one are these buttons. These are a nylon button. They push in right here. You can see the other one there. They're a wear item. You can still buy them. They're not expensive at all. I think they're like $7 Canadian or something each. I don't remember exactly. These ones were okay, so I didn't order them. You don't want to have... You want your spider to sit tight in the tracks. Anyways, you can kind of see, oh, there it goes. So you want your spider so that, I'm just going to simulate, if you have play in these little pucks, you'll get a rattle in your clutch. It's also pretty hard on it. So you can see where this puck is missing, or this button, and it's creating play. It's more common in bigger machines or ATVs, especially Can-Ams. They wear these buttons bad. I don't know if these are the original buttons or not. They're in really good shape, so I'm just going to leave them. So another thing that can wear is your rollers. You can end up with a flat spot on them. Your pins can be worn. These ones are pretty good, except this spider is oblong right in here. So your pin and roller go in through there, and when I was looking at this the other day, I thought, oh, there's a bushing in here that's worn out, just when I was peering through the cover. But what it is just, it's actually burred this outer edge. You can kind of see that it's oblonged it. There's not much you can do, just smooth it down with a file. You're not able to get this spider from Yamaha anymore. For the 32 horsepower that these sleds have, it'll probably be fine, even with that bit of wear. Just see that your rollers aren't contacting anything. There's a little washer, nylon washer, right there and right there, in between the spider and the roller. You can see there's some play in this roller. That's not the end of the world. As long as they roll, it'll be good. I'll maybe rebuild the spider next year, or I might even see if I can find a better used one. I'm not going to put any money into this one until I know for sure that I can or cannot find a better one. But what was giving this clutch grief was, if you look right in here, you can see where my finger is. That is from a weight contacting the side of the spider. So the weights come up in through here like that, and the weights are forever going up and down in the spider. They hinge on the outer sheave, but they're forever doing this. And what's actually happened is it's worn a groove, exactly the shape of the weight. And that's because the pins, that's a pin, and it slides through the outer sheave right here. Goes in through there, your weight sits in here, and what's happened is there's a worn spot on that pin. You can't really see it very well, but I put one in the vise just so you can see the wobble in it. And it's a lot. I really can't believe that it was wobbling that much. But so there's a little washer on either side of the weight, and you want to make sure those are in good shape. Yamaha still sells them. I think they're $2.95 a piece. That's the part number for 5 pieces. I do have the individual part number written down somewhere, but and then the pins are $11.95 a piece, I believe. That's the part number for them. And yeah, so I'm going to put these new pins in and the new washers. And you'll also need 3 cotter pins to replace these guys. These cotter pins will actually wear out to the point where you'll end up with one leg of the cotter pin in here still, and eventually, and actually this is what happened on the clutch that's on the machine right now, this pin walked out enough that it was rubbing on the housing. So that's actually what made me kind of look into this clutch a little better. I had blown it out before I took it out for the first ride, and when I came back I noticed there was aluminum filings all inside the inside here. So what I was able to do temporarily was I put a new washer on both sides and a new cotter pin and filed everything nice and flat before I put the pin in, obviously. So that's gotten me a few rides out of it, but its days are numbered for sure. So again, your weights, just make sure that they have a good contour. There shouldn't be any real flat spotting on them. It's pretty rare that you see that, but just run your finger along there and see that everything's smooth. Clean them up as best you can just with a rag and brake clean. Clean out the center hole in your weight. I could replace these weights, they're not that expensive, but you also have to buy this rivet that's calibrated as well. And by the time you get done, I think it would be $50 or $60, and these weights on the new pins are pretty tight. So I'm just gonna try it. For all I ride this machine, it'll be good enough. So anyway, I hope this helps you. It really isn't a big task at all to service your clutch. It sounds like a big deal, but it isn't. And if this helps you at all, like the video or like it anyways, and subscribe if you want. Thanks a lot.